So I have a question for you. Have you ever felt so worn down, worn out, depleted, overwhelmed that you've been tempted to have a stimulant like a cigarette or a coffee just to get you going? I know you have, everyone has. I know that I certainly have done. Well, in that case, you need to look at the strength of your kidneys and building up the strength of your kidneys, and that is what the Rejuvenate formula is for. Now, the kidney organ system relates to the element of water, and you can generally tell that someone has an abundance of and balanced kidney energy when they're cool. That's an easy way to tell. Now, the kidney organ system relates to a lot. It relates to the brain, the central nervous system, the adrenals, the bladder, the bones, the connective tissue, and the whole reproductive system. So as you can see, if your kidney energy is low, you're going to have a lot of problems, a lot of different systems in your body are going to go out of whack. And to be honest, this system is the most important of all of them. It's like the root of the body. You need to work on building up the strength of the kidney system before anything else, usually with a few exceptions. And unlike the other herbal formulas that we do, really you want to have these herbs probably for the rest of your life. Most of the people who take Taoist tonic herbs will only take the other herbs as and when they need them and take kidney herbs all the time, because kidney energy, unlike other energies, you only have a finite amount. So with the energy of qi, which relates to vitality, that gets rebuilt every time you breathe, every time you eat. With the energy of shen, that gets built up every time you do something good, every time you live your purpose, every time you do the right thing. But unfortunately, this kidney energy, you start off with a certain amount and it just gets lower and lower and lower as you get older. And in fact, the process of aging itself is related in Taoist tonic herbalism to reduction of this kidney energy, because it's this kidney energy which rejuvenates and heals the body. Now, these Taoist tonic herbs for the kidneys are one of the few things that will really rebuild this energy. So every time we relax, every time we sleep, every time we recuperate, we rest, we are replenishing it to some degree, but we're never going to get it back to what it was with anything other than Taoist tonic herbs and certain very advanced Taoist meditation practices. So Taoist tonic herbs are really the way to rebuild those batteries, recharge your batteries. They're the key to longevity, which means to live a long time. But I don't mean live a long time where you're sick and feeble and need a lot of medication. I'm not talking about adding more years to your life. I'm talking about adding more life to your years. That's what strong kidneys give you. So the other aspect of kidneys, other than rejuvenation and recuperation, is the positive function, and that's to have courage, that's to have will, determination, a real confidence. That's what comes from having strong kidneys as well. And of course, you need to feel that you have that deep reserve of energy. You need to feel that you can adapt and respond to life in order to be courageous, in order to put yourself out there, in order to be your best and do what you really want to do. Another important aspect of these kidney herbs is that they relate to the reproductive system. So they increase potency in men and fertility in women. They also will increase or normalize the sex drive. So rather than feeling excessive sexual appetite or a lack of sexual appetite, you'll feel an appropriate level of sexual appetite for the circumstances. Obviously a real benefit. Now, another aspect of the kidneys which I hadn't understood for a long time, because in Chinese Taoist tonic herbalism, the kidneys are the most important organs in the body, and yet from the Western medical perspective, all I could discover about them is that they filter the blood, which a dialysis machine could do. So I didn't understand there seemed to be a huge discrepancy or incongruence between those two ideas of what the kidneys were. And obviously when the Taoists speak about the kidneys, they speak about more than just the kidneys, but still, it seemed like a big incongruence until I discovered that from a Western medicine perspective, the kidneys are also in charge of the acid-alkaline balance of the body. Now, for anyone who's heard of Robert Young and his work, the acid-alkaline balance of the body is absolutely crucial. In our society, most people are too acidic, and to be stressed, to be uptight, to experience chronic tension, and to experience inflammation are all signs of an excess of acidity in the body. So we want to bring the body back into an acid-alkaline balance. How do we do this? By building up the strength of the kidneys. There are a lot of products out there right now which alkalinize the body temporarily, green drinks, certain alkaline salts, but ultimately all they do is temporarily buffer a fundamentally acidic condition. The only way that you can truly come into an acid-alkaline balance is to have strong, healthy, balanced kidneys, and that's what a kidney tonic herbal formula will do for you. So if you're in pain, then it's because you have inflammation. If you have inflammation, it's because you're overly acidic. If you're overly acidic, it's because your kidneys are out of balance. So there we go. Kidneys are the root of so many things. Now, if you're someone who trains hard, if you're someone who pushes themselves to the limit, you may think, lactic acid. There's also carboxylic acid. These are two acids that build up when you exert yourself, when you train. Now, if your body is in acid-alkaline balance, you'll be able to train longer, you'll be able to train harder, which means that you'll have more increase in muscle size, more increase in muscle strength, more increase in endurance. So you can imagine the possibilities when you restore this acid-alkaline balance and how important it is for anyone who's interested in peak performance on a physical level in any way. So the kidney organ system also relates to the bones, the ligaments, the tendons, the connective tissue, as well as the teeth. So if you have any problems with these parts of your body, then that's a sign of weak kidneys, especially if you have lower back problems, if you have problems with your knees or with your ankles where they're painful or clicky or swollen. That's a really good sign that you have a kidney weakness that really needs addressing. As well as relating to the bones, the kidney organ system relates to the bone marrow. The bone marrow creates red blood cells. It also creates a lot of the killer cells, fighter cells of the immune system, and it creates stem cells. And if you've heard of stem cells are those things which can be turned into any other cells of the body. So they're the part of you that rejuvenates and recuperates you and heals you. So that's why it's really important to have healthy bone marrow. Now, in most people, just like the dowry say, the kidneys become depleted, and by the time you're in your 50s or 60s, they're a hell of a lot weaker than they were in their 20s. So your bone marrow tends to deplete and completely dry up by the time you're in your 50s or 60s. Again, unless you really have strong, healthy, balanced kidneys. Now, another area that the kidneys relate to fundamentally is the mind and the brain, particularly the automatic parts of the brain. So things like recall, clarity, hearing as well, all the instinctual parts of the brain, all the things that you do automatically, all relate to the kidney organ system. So a good sign that you have depleted kidneys would be that if your memory is poor, if you have fuzzy thinking, if you have difficulty grasping concepts, that means you need to build up the energy of the kidney organs. Now, it's very interesting with the kidneys. You tend to find that people send the energy of the kidneys to a different place automatically, and it's usually a genetic hereditary thing. Some people tend to have very strong minds, but they have weak sexual drive. Some people tend to have very strong endurance, which relates to the kidneys and the adrenals, but they may not have such strong clarity or memory. So wherever your particular kidney weakness is, it doesn't matter, it's going to be built up with these kidney Taoist tonic herbs, and that's amazing. It's going to target wherever you need improvement. The one other area I want to talk to you about with the kidney organ system is the adrenals. Now, the adrenals are two little glands that are perched on top of the kidneys. And what happens is every time you're stressed, every time that your body goes into a state of alarm, your adrenals will squeeze your kidneys metaphorically and release a bit of this energy, this finite energy, which you only have a certain amount of. Now, this energy is that which makes you feel alert, which makes you feel alive, which makes you feel really good. So it's really tempting to do this. It's really tempting to put your body into an alarm state. Some people do this with drama, some people do this with stress, some people do this by putting themselves into situations of threat, and some people will do this by taking drugs, stimulants. Every drug is basically a poison that poisons your body, and the reason you feel good when you take it is because your body has an alarm reaction. It thinks it's being poisoned, and it will activate the adrenals, which will release a bit of this kidney energy, which will make you feel alert, which will make you feel great. But ultimately, all you're doing is depleting yourself. And of course, as you know, when the stimulant wears off, however long it may take, whether it's half an hour or all day, at the end of it, you feel even lower energy than you did before. That's because you just depleted yourself a little bit further. So get off the stimulant track. Stop having stimulants in order to bolster already flagging energy, and instead build up your reserves, and then the temptation for stimulants won't even come up. I can speak from personal experience as someone who was utterly addicted to stimulants and used to have them all day, every day for years and years and years. And now I'm not even slightly tempted by them. I never have them. I have no desire for them because my energy is consistent and abundant without them. And I thank tonic herbs for that. They've been amazing, and I would never have a stimulant again because I'd never want to waste that energy. I'd always want to replenish it instead. And I really hope that you feel the same way when you've tried this formula, because it is incredible. It gets you from a cycle of energy depletion where you keep having to stimulate yourself and pick yourself up by draining already depleted energy, to a cycle of energy abundance where energy begets more energy, begets more energy, until you just feel like you have all the energy to do everything you possibly could do. Because let's face it, being the best you can be and doing what you want to do is really hard without energy. There's a very famous ancient Taoist proverb which says, first, in order to do anything, you must first have energy.